Hey everybody, I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, and that never goes well. Um, I have 1900 straight up, so we'll go ahead and get started. I would ask if everybody could please keep yourself on mute until if you have a question or a comment, by all means, unmute yourself and ask your question or make your comment, and then just go back onto mute. Just helps us to not have a lot of background noise. I'm presenting. Trying to get this stuff. Oh, all right, you all should see the slide deck now, I hope. Let's see the our logo there. So sadly, this was supposed to have been an in-person meeting for the end of the year in Pittsburgh. And with the government shutdown, everything that we've been doing with REVC has been paid off of a federal grant. And well, we still have the grant for the rest of the year, which of course is only another, 6 weeks or so until the end of the year. So we do have some funds. We didn't have them at the time when I needed to plan for the in-person meeting because they were halted. And so anyway, that is why we are not having this as an in-person meeting. But we can still have a great time virtually, right? We're all used to this by now. My husband just walked in. Say hi, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Everybody knows Jay with the REP program, of course. Yes, sir. Okay. He doesn't need me. He's just standing there. There we go. I did create this. Sean is here. As you all know, Sean as well. He's not here at my house. He's here online. And he will be taking attendance from, looking at who's here. But I also, this is something I'm trying to see if it works. So we're going to do both things this time. There's a QR code on your screen right now. So if you can open your camera on your phone and scan that QR code, you should be able to put in your name and your email address. And that will be how we can take attendance. If for some reason you can't do that, then if you could just, and I see several of you already have, and I love it, put your name in the chat. That's another way we can check attendance. I just want to be sure that everybody gets credit for being here. I'll leave that QR code up just for one more, not even a minute, 47 seconds more, and then we will move on. 45, 46, 47. Okay. So what did we do this year? We actually did a fair bit of activity this year. So if we started our year in February, and we had to have our 2024 annual meeting in February of 25 because of Hurricane Helene derailed. We were supposed to have that in November of last year. So these November in-person meetings just don't seem to be happening well. So that was in Charlotte, and I know many of you were there. We had a pretty good crowd for that. I forgot to put the number here of how many were there, but I thought it was a great meeting. Our speakers included Tony Bateman, who gave us a preview of NREP, it's the National Radiological Emergency Preparedness meeting, which was in Charlotte in the spring, summer, May or June timeframe in Charlotte. And then we had somebody from Duke Energy give us a little overview of the McGuire nuclear power plant, just to kind of tell us how it works, give us a little history of the plant itself. That was always, I always enjoy those kinds of talks. I think they're really interesting. And then Jay talked to us about electronic PRDs, and we did a little practice with that. He had some sources kind of hidden around the building, and we got to go around with friskers and find those, get a little hands-on practice. And then in the afternoon, although sadly it was a very cold and rainy day, we did practice animal decon. The Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department animal control, they have a very nice setup with their tents and everything that they had set up in the parking lot outside of the building. We got to simulate. It was honestly, it was so cold and wet, we didn't even bring any animals out. We wouldn't have gotten them wet anyway, but we would have just shown how to do animal decon, but it was just too miserable a day to bring any furry friends out there. But we saw the setup, and I think that was very educational. I certainly enjoyed it, but y'all know animals are really my thing. So that was especially great for me. In May, we had our second quarter meeting, and that was the public health response to a radiological event with Diana Hills from, I believe she's in Pender County. Jay will tell me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure she's with Pender County Department of Health and Human Services. And I thought that was a great talk as well, because it really kind of brought in a different
see what they look like
perspective than what we might usually think of, because a lot of us don't deal with the public health sector a lot. And so I always like to get different perspectives on things that we have studied and learned about, because you can learn more, just seeing it from someone else's point of view. Then we had a couple of exercises in the summer. On June 30th, there was an emergency worker decon rehearsal out in Lincolnton, and we had a few folks there for that. And then their actual graded exercise was July 24th, about a month or so later, also in Lincolnton. There was also a reception center exercise in Matthews in mid-July, and we had several of you there for that as well. Hold on, slide, move. There we go. In August, we had our third quarter meeting, and our topic was psychological first aid for radiological emergencies. As I told you at that time, I borrowed with permission that the slide deck is from a woman from Georgia who I had seen that presentation done at the previous Southeast Rep conference. And I liked it a lot and wanted to share it with you all. And so tonight this is our annual meeting, even though we're not in person. Just to catch you up on what is going on with that grant, that I've been able to do so many wonderful things with it for the past year and a half, which also reminds me that I still have shirts and jackets and other goodies for you guys. And I was planning to give them to you at our in-person meeting. And of course, we're not there. So I need to find a way to get those things to you all. And I don't know if I'm just going to mail them or
make them come to the in-person meeting next.
Well, I don't know when we're going to have another in-person meeting because of funding and so forth. But we will get you guys your swag. We've got some really, really nice swag for you. I want to be sure that you get it. But what's going on with the grant is that was a grant from DHHS. Yeah, I was going to go to the federal level of who it was, but basically it came from ASPR, the agency. I can't ever remember all these acronyms. ASPR. Anyway, I can't remember it at this moment, but that grant dies December 31st. So there is no re-upping it. They're not offering it again for 2026. And so I'm not going to be as flush with funds as I have been for the last year and a half to 2 years. However, REVC is still going to be going strong. We probably are going to have to do more things virtually and not do as many things. Like, I can't buy hotel rooms for everybody again. I won't have that kind of money. But Jay Royster with the REP program, who you may have heard of even in the last 5 minutes.
Heard of.
You've heard of him?
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. He will be taking on the financial side of REVC. So that'll be coming out of the REP budget. So never fear, REVC is not going away. On your side of the house, everything will look the same. The only thing that changes is where we assign accounting codes on our side. So we're still going. REVC is great, and everybody around the state is loving it. And I expect us to have more things to do, more activities coming up. So here's what our calendar looks like for 2026, just for basic REVC stuff. So our next virtual meeting will be January 12th. And we're going to have a talk on preventing and treating radiation injuries and illness. So I think that'll be a great medical topic. A lot of us enjoy those kinds of topics and learning more about how to treat people and how to help people who are injured or suffering radiation sickness. Then April 13th will be the next meeting. And we will be looking at, this is from, I believe, the NRC, the Nuclear Detonation Response Guidance Planning for the First 72 Hours. So we're going to take a look at that publication together and see what we need to know. We hope that we never have to put this into practice, but that's why we're all here, right? Is to figure out what to do. For those of you who can make it, the following week after that meeting in Kansas City, Kansas is the national rep meeting. And it would be phenomenal if you all could be there, or any of you could be there. That would be great. We have submitted an abstract. Haven't heard yet if it's been accepted, but we want to get out there and tell people about REVC and what we're doing here in North Carolina. So it'd be great on a national stage to have that opportunity to present to people. So I'm hoping that that gets accepted. Our next meeting after that will be July 13th, and we're going to talk about adding the ROS capability to REVC. I know in the very first iteration of REVC, there were some ROS trained folks, and it stands for, Jay, do you remember? Radiation Operations Support Specialist, I believe is what ROS stands for. So we're going to look at adding, that would be some extra training for us to do so we can become ROSs. And Tony, what I'll do is I am recording this meeting and it will be on YouTube, and I can share the slides as well, but I always put this up on YouTube a day or two after the meeting. And then we're going to try again for next year to do the annual meeting in Pittsburgh that we were hoping to do this year. So if we're able to do that, put it on your calendar, and we'll just, I don't know how we'll be able to handle travel expenses, but that's a whole year away. So give us time to figure that one out. Any questions or comments on those upcoming events?
Please let Chad and Kay know how we can support the meeting.
Thank you so much, John. It's funny, I put that on my calendar without checking with you first, but I knew you would be there for us. So I will make a formal request for that. Thank you. I also want to be sure that we get more integrated with the nuclear power plant exercises and the medical worker drills and the decon drills and any of those things. We want to be sure that we're plugging those in. And as soon as I have a schedule for those, I will share it with you all so you can be sure to mark the dates on your calendar. Other things we're looking at in 2026, Jay has been doing a lot of training with first responders on how to use all of this wonderful radiation detection equipment. And we need to do more of that training. Several of you expressed an interest in being a trainer for that. And Jay has that list of names, and we need folks all across the state, all 3 branches. So we have a lot of first responders who need this training. So we will be reaching out to you all some more after the first of the year, and making sure that if Jay can train you in exactly how to teach the class, and we will work with you on that after the first of the year. I already mentioned getting us more integrated into the rep exercises. And then I sort of had this little brainstorm, and I'm curious to see how you guys feel about it. I think, REVC is one of these things like car insurance. It's really, really good to have, and you hope you never have to use it. And with that in mind, I don't want us to just train and never do anything. And so I was thinking if we could sort of come up with a public education campaign, that would be something for us to do, to go around the state in the vicinities, within the 50-mile radii of the nuclear power plants, and offer talks, because there's so many people who live close to these plants and they have no idea, even though Duke Energy does send things out to them. People still just don't know what it means. When the siren goes off, what am I supposed to do? And but if we could offer up some public education, I think it would give us something to do. It's a great practice with public speaking. So a lot of us want to increase our skills in that realm. And I've put together a sample of the kind of thing, which for you all, it's going to be very basic, but the idea of, the talk the type of talk that we might give. Tina's asking about outreach in the areas where new plants have been proposed. I know that there are some small modular reactors that have been proposed around the state. I don't think there are any more larger nuclear power plants. They're all SMRs, but certainly we could offer public education in those areas. Eddie went to the CMERT training. That is really good training. Yes, maybe we could get a class put on specifically for REVC. I have done that training as well, and it is very, very good training. It's I can't see acronyms. It's something about radiation and transportation. And the CMERT is the compressed class. It can either, the compressed class I think is 1 day and the regular class is 2 days. Yes, I love your ideas. Keep putting them in the chat because I want to see those. So what follows here is my idea for an example of a public safety event. So this is for people who know really nothing about it, and it's just called Staying Safe During a Nuclear Emergency. And this is not all original. I used stuff off of REVC and the NRC and I think the CDC, all those good places with the 3-letter acronyms. So these are the objectives that I thought we could cover. Just an overview of the nuclear power plants in North Carolina. What are the sirens and emergency alerts? What do those mean? What am I supposed to do when I hear the sirens or I get an alert on my phone? And then as I like FEMA on their ready.gov site for whatever hazard they have, they always tell you, what do you do before, during, and after the emergency? And so I kind of borrowed their stuff on what do you do before, during, and after a nuclear power plant emergency? What does sheltering in place really mean? What does that look like? How do you do it? And then how does evacuation work? When might you be evacuated? We won't say specifically where the emergency shelters are until those are actually open, but what it would be like to go to a shelter. And yes, Tina's talking about including KI as a topic. I think that could be either in the during or after part of that talk. And, just make sure people know, wait until you are told to take that KI. So I'm not going to read all of this to you, and this is like too much text to have on a page on one slide, but just an overview of the power plants that they are in Brunswick County, Mecklenburg, and Wake, and talk about the 10-mile emergency planning zone and the 50-mile ingestion pathway zone, and explain to folks what all of that means. And also, I love maps, and so if we are doing these talks out in the wild, in the community, I would, whatever plant you're nearest, I would certainly show the map and people can figure out where is my house and how close am I to this particular plant. And then just tell them about the task forces that we have through emergency management and the people that are included in that, with emergency response officials, law enforcement, first responders, public health officials, and that they meet regularly to discuss their plans and procedures. Just so that I think it would give people some peace of mind to know how much planning is going on at the state level, the county and the state level, so that, we're not, it's a very highly regulated and well-planned industry. And then about the nuclear plans, which the federal government mandates, include evacuation of residents within the 10-mile emergency zone before the release of radiation, and how those plans are tested, and the drills that are held every 2 years, just to give people some awareness of all of that sort of regulation that goes on. And then I have maps. I told you I love maps. So this is the zoomed out view of the Brunswick nuclear plant. The plant itself, it's in the very middle of that circle where the little star is. And then I have a zoomed in of the same map, but just so that you can see in that 10-mile zone, people will know, excuse me, they can look at this and figure out which zone they live in. Sorry, I had to take a sip of my Gatorade. I was getting parched. So I gotta love the maps. Todd Smith from NRC gave a great presentation on KI at NREP. Awesome. Thanks for that, John. I will reach out to him. That sounds great. And then for Harris, here's the zoomed out map, and then the zoomed in map. And again, I just think it's great for people to get some bearing on where they are in relationship to the plants and figure out what zone they're in. Because if someone just says, hey, if you live in zone L, you need to evacuate, people are going to say, oh my gosh, where's zone L? Do I live in zone L? I have no clue. And so I think us doing some public education could be very helpful for that. And this is McGuire with the zoomed out map. And of course, this Nope, this doesn't. This is North Carolina. Yep. And then zoomed in so you can see where all the zones are around McGuire. And then Catawba. And as I started to say, but I was wrong, this is the one that is technically in South Carolina. So the state line, I don't think you can see my cursor. It's just below Cleveland County. There is where the state line is between North and South Carolina. And the plant is just south of the border. But as you can see, that 50-mile zone does enter, I'm sorry, 10-mile zone does go into North Carolina. And there we are zoomed in. So that section F3 there is entirely in North Carolina. And A2, it looks like, is partly
Union, Mecklenburg.
Yeah.
Berkeley.
Union, Mecklenburg, and a little bit of Cleveland. So maps always helpful. All right, so for sirens and alerts, if you hear the sirens, you're supposed to tune into your local radio or television station. It's surprising to me, I think, how much confusion there is. People just have no clue. If I hear the siren, does that mean I should just leave? I need to get in my car and leave right away? That's not what it means at all. What it means is turn on the radio, turn on the television, to the local news, and see what you need to, why is the siren going off? And they will tell you exactly what you are supposed to do.
Also, I'll add that the news broadcast when they're doing tests.
Yes.
So listen out for.
Can y'all, I don't know if y'all can hear Jay, he's behind me. He said that the news will also broadcast when they're doing tests. So they do test those sirens regularly. And Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know they've been talking about it for several years. Isn't there talk about the sirens going away and then we would only have the wireless emergency alerts? Eventually. We don't know when that will happen. Someday there will no longer be sirens, but they are already.
A lot of
Oh, have they? He said
it's a huge maintenance.
Yeah, it's a lot of maintenance to keep those sirens up and running. And now, really almost everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody though, or at least a cellular phone. I don't think it even has to be smart. And so they are using the wireless emergency alerts in conjunction with the sirens right now, but do look for that to maybe go away. The sirens, that is. Years. Yeah. Oh, so before a nuclear power emergency, what should you do? Oops, it went back a slide. There we go. So things that you can do to protect yourself and your family. Of course, building an emergency supply kit. We all have those anyway, and it doesn't matter what is coming. If it's a tornado or a hurricane or a nuclear power plant emergency, you're going to have your supply kit. And if we're doing a talk for the general public, we certainly could go into some detail here about what should you have in your kit. Maybe even bring a sample of what a home emergency kit could look like.
Could I add that?
Yes.
Have a 1 or 2 changes of clothes.
Yeah.
If you get contaminated, whatever you're wearing, it gets thrown away.
Can y'all hear Jay? Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear him behind me. I don't know. Anyway, he said, especially for this type of an emergency kit, have a couple pairs of, thank you, Leona, have a couple changes of clothes. Because if you do get contaminated with radiation, and we all learned this in our training, you can get rid of probably 90% of it just by taking off the outer layer of clothing. So you're going to want to have something else to put on. So have some extra clothing in your kit. And of course, we all have family emergency plans, communication plans. How are you going to get in touch with your family if all the cell towers are down and you can't get to them? Of course, we're going to use our ham radios, right, Ed? I know that you have that on your, I just saw him give a thumbs down for the emergency plan. We can use our ham radios to stay in touch as well. And then you can get public information materials from the power company. They print things every year. And if for some reason you're not getting them, you just get in touch with Duke Power and you can probably order them right off of their website. The information is on the website, but if you want something printed, they will make sure that you get it. So you want to be sure that you know all of the stuff you're supposed to know before anything happens. And here I've just put basic things that you would want to have in your emergency supply kit. you all know this inside out and backwards, so I'm not going to read that one to you. And then for your family emergency plan, make sure you have your in case of emergency or your ICE listing in your phone. So if anything does happen to you, somebody can access that and see who they need to contact for you. Maybe have your children's school or daycare, check with them about emergency plans. Now, I will tell you that a lot of schools keep that information very close to the vest, but also be assured that schools do have emergency plans. But if you have any worries about that, just go and talk to the principal and find out what you need to know about that. In many instances, if the school is in the EPZ, they have a plan to, thanks, Ed. They have a plan probably to move the students outside of the zone and to maybe probably to another school. And they most likely won't give you the details on that plan until something happens. Then they say, here's where you go to pick up your kids. Thanks for clarifying. Ed said the thumbs down was that he couldn't hear Jay, but he has a thumbs up on the comms plan. Needed that. And then during a nuclear power plant emergency, we know that the 4 main ways to limit the amount of radiation you are exposed to are shielding, distance, time, and then potassium iodide. That's the Ki that Tina mentioned earlier. Yes, but that only works for one element of radiation. John Royal also says that relocation schools are on Duke Energy's in the brochure, and Tina says on their website, so you can find out the school information there. So shielding, we know you want to put as many layers as possible between you and the radioactive material. Think of it just like if a tornado was coming, you would want to get to the lowest level of your house in an interior room, and it's the same thing for radiation. And then distance, of course, the farther away you are from the blast and fallout, the lower your exposure will be. Local officials will let you know if you need to leave. And if you do, then keep your car windows and the vents on your car closed. Use the recirculating air. And then time is the third way to limit radiation. The time will just, the decreasing time spent exposed will lower your risk. So the less time that you are out there exposed to it, then the less likely you are to have an issue. And then with that potassium iodide, you should be able to get that from your local health department if you are close. Although I also have heard people have gone to the health departments and they have no idea what they're talking about. You can order it off of Amazon, you guys. You can order your own Ki. It's not terribly expensive. But the thing is, you don't take it until the officials tell you, like, if you are in this area, now is the time to take your potassium iodide. So learn what the correct dosage for each person in your family. If you have very small children, it could be a smaller dose. Jay's coming closer. He has something to say.
Yes, it takes 2 hours to take effect. And then it's only good for 6, 8, 10 hours. And then it starts to wane off. And it's only good for one isotope. So the best thing is don't get contaminated to start with.
There you go. Best advice ever. Just don't get contaminated. There we go. And then after a nuclear power plant emergency, wait for your local authorities, your emergency managers, to provide orders through the emergency alert system or on television or radio. And they will tell you if you are evacuating, where's your shelter or reception center that you should go to. Do act quickly if you have come in contact or been exposed to radiation. And if we were doing this as public safety education, we could tell them, what are those actions? For example, on the next couple bullets there, follow the decontamination directions from local authorities. You may have to take a shower, change your clothes and your shoes, put your exposed clothing in a plastic bag. You just say goodbye to it. You're not getting those clothes back. If you have any unusual symptoms such as nausea, then you would want to seek medical treatment. And think about your neighbors who may need special help, people who have infants or elderly people, folks with access and functional needs. Make sure that you check on them as well, especially people who live alone and may not have somebody else there to help them. And yes, sir.
One of the biggest things we run into that I actually gotten calls about is trash trucks.
Trash trucks.
Yeah. Got a call 2 weeks ago from an emergency manager out far west and said that their trash truck was going to the dump. And when a trash truck or anything goes into recycling, they have monitors there and monitor, make sure nothing gets in the dump. It went hot.
Oh,
And it's not the first time. It's generally what you run into mostly is people that have gone through cancer treatment
radiation treatment.
and they disposed of stuff where they shouldn't have. So if in this situation, if somebody is going through cancer treatment and they show up at a reception center, make sure you tell somebody because you're going to show up hot.
That's a good point.
For 6 hours, but still,
contaminate you.
that it'll never happen.
Yeah, that's a good
Hey,
point.
Jay.
Yo,
Hey, did North Carolina Radiological Emergency Protection get involved with that? I'm sorry, Radiological.
yes, they did.
That's cool. Good deal. Thank you.
Yes, they did.
Great question. And then the following, just a couple more things there. Don't go home until you're told that it's safe. If you were evacuated, do not go back to your home until you're told that it is safe to do so. And then keep food in covered containers or in the refrigerator. Anything that wasn't covered, it says you should wash it before putting it into containers. Honestly, if I had any food out that was not covered, I would probably toss it because it could have contamination on it. And your garden could have been exposed, so maybe your tomatoes aren't going to be any good. So it all depends on how bad the radiation exposure is, and your authorities, like Mr. John Royal, he would be telling you what you need to know in that situation. So if you do need to shelter in place, this is actually a really tough thing to have to do. We're talking about closing all your windows, doors, fireplace, dampers, turn off the air conditioning or forced air heating units that brings air in from the outside. Your home is going to get really stuffy really fast. Obviously, if there's a release of radiation, we want you to do this. You would be instructed when to do it, but it's not comfortable. Hopefully, you wouldn't have to do it for very long. Wait until authorities tell you that it is safe. Keep your pets inside with you, and that means that Fluffy can't even go outside to use the bathroom. If you take your dog out, you're just going to have to keep him in the house and have an extra mess to clean up. But that's better than being exposed to radiation. You may not want to, if you have well water, you may want to have that tested before you drink from your well again. So you want to be sure to have that looked at. And boiling water does not get rid of radiation. I found that really interesting when I was putting this together. What?
It does not.
It does not. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and Ed mentions that if a patient is being treated for prostate cancer, there could be seed implants, and so they would show up as being radioactive. But it does not mean they're contaminated. It's probably from their cancer treatment. So as far as evacuation and emergency shelters, you would be instructed by local authorities to go to a community reception center, which is pretty much the same as like a hurricane evacuation center, except that you will be screened for radiation on your way in. And then if you show hot, then they will decontaminate you to whatever degree is needed for you to be quote unquote clean. It is the lingo to use dirty and clean, but yeah, hot or cold. Anyway.
Samantha?
Yes.
I know you covered shelter in place, and I may jump ahead if it's in the material. Are you covering go inside, stay inside also, or?
Well, I sort of had that here on the nuclear power plant emergencies, distance shielding, put as many layers as possible between you and the
I will make sure all the REVC members, if you're coming to Sister County, you just know the difference. Just in case a FEMA evaluator hits you or something like that. So if you have a plume release during an exercise, shelter in place will be just like Samantha said. You're going inside, you're turning off air conditioners, all the windows are shut, stuff like that. That's to protect from radiation coming inside your house. That's one terminology you'll see inside of the press release. Another press release may say, go inside, stay inside. That's nothing more than a security measure for a hostile action-based event. We're trying to keep people off the street so they're clear, so that all the cops and military, all the fun federal acronyms can get and help out the nuclear power plant. But just make sure you understand there's two differences. You shouldn't get called with FEMA evaluation, but just in case, you know the differences in terminologies.
No, that's great information. Thank you, John.
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate that. All right. So, right, we were talking about the community reception centers, and this is one of the main places that we would deploy REVC volunteers is to help out at these reception centers. So we might be helping with, we might just be helping out in the parking lot with traffic control. We might be helping with registering people as they come in, or helping with actually running the portal monitors, setting up the portal monitors, running friskers, helping out in the showers, helping in the shelter area with where the sleeping areas are, or helping with feeding. Any of these things are things that REVC volunteers could be tasked with helping. Okay. And then these are just some good websites that I think should be shared if you're doing any kind of public education. There's the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the Department of Energy, National Nuclear Security Administration, Environmental Protection Agency, and of course FEMA, just for more information. So my question for you all is, and I know that this is a very basic and kind of hits the highlight sort of a PowerPoint, and I would want to beef it up a little more, but is that an idea that y'all think is good, that we could go to the county emergency managers in the 50-mile zones and offer this as something we could come and do, and to give information to their residents?
I think it's a great idea.
Awesome. Yes.
Into helping this out, and John, this will be for you too. I'm actually working on micro videos and training to take each little tiny aspect of, for instance, the card used to identify yourself and put down your dosimeter readings, to everything else, micro videos that go into term, so you could actually sign up and take those little classes. But it's first one, it will be published sometime in late December.
Yeah, I think the micro videos would be really helpful, and then anything we can do to support our ingestion pathway counties would be phenomenal.
Yes.
It's
and the idea is you don't want to spend 3 hours in front of a video.
Sure.
So I'm doing little miniatures.
That's awesome. One thing I want to fall back to, she covered reception centers, and to that extent, reception centers and emergency worker decon. Where did I meet you guys at for the McGuire exercise? Was that Iredell County we did EWD at? Is that correct? Or
I think so. What was Iredell, wasn't it?
Lincoln.
The REVC members there were phenomenal.
Lincoln.
Awesome.
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Thank you.
Lincoln. Yeah.
The REVC members at that emergency worker decon were awesome. They did exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yay.
Under North Carolina OEMS, this is way back in the day, we've had some issues with REVC in the past where we had a counter reception center thing set up, and members of REVC wanted to reorganize everything the day of the exercise.
Oh God.
No, that's not what.
Yeah, please don't do that. If you have feedback, by all means, we'll take it after the exercise. Say anything you want to after action review. But the day of the exercise, please don't move stuff around.
Yeah.
Just follow the policy. That's all we ask. We value your
Absolutely.
feedback, but just not on exercise day.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's really important for us to understand we're there to help. We REVC volunteers are not in charge of the situation. We are there to help. And so whoever is the county emergency manager who's leading it, that is the person we need to look to and follow their orders. Thank you for mentioning that, Jane.
And the other part that I don't think you were at, John, was when they did a reception center set up in South Charlotte. The order was, we got these 10 border monitors, we need them set up. And I just pointed, here's this one. The REVC people set them up, got them running, and I just hooked to them and tested them. And they took them all apart. I didn't have to do anything except connect to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, REVC all did that.
Well,
That's awesome. That's exactly what I like to see. And they're in locations or coordinates and plan. That's perfect. That's beautiful.
Just to brag further on you awesome REVC people, I think it was that same one in Lincolnton where the FEMA evaluators were asking questions and the REVC people were like, bam, 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 and they knew every answer. And they're like, okay, wait, let's see if the firefighters can answer these questions. But they were really, really impressed with you all. So I'm really proud of you guys and everything that you're doing. So
Just
good
make
work.
sure everyone knows the answer.
Yes.
If a FEMA
Use your
evaluator,
cheat sheet.
Yes. We give
use
you
your
cheat
cheat
sheet.
sheet, but
Yep.
if the answer is not on your cheat sheet, you don't know the answer. The correct answer is ask command. That's always the correct answer.
There you
I can
go.
ask the supervisor, and we'll get an answer. That's perfectly okay for FEMA.
I love it. Now we're all ready for the next test. Perfect. Jay, did you have anything else you wanted to talk to the gang about?
Oh, no, I'm not, nothing I can think of right this second.
Nothing you can think of.
Other than Happy Thanksgiving.
He says Happy Thanksgiving. Do you all have questions or comments? I know this is kind of a short-ish meeting, but when it's virtual, I try not to make it too long. Anything from you guys?
Oh, Sam, this is Matt. I have one quick question or more
That's fine.
thing to ask. If you're going to be down there in Apex on Saturday for the search and rescue,
Yes.
could I pick up my badge and shirt then?
Yes. That's a
Station
great
6.
point. I will look at the list, and because there's probably some more of you who are coming to the search and rescue training Saturday. I will bring your REVC stuff.
At
Thank you,
Star
Matt.
Search.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you,
Oh,
Samantha.
here's a fun exercise for people.
great idea.
Using internet, Google, whatever, or just things around your house. See if you can find how many different items around your own house or yard that are affected or have radiation in them.
They probably don't have Friskers at home.
Don't need a Frisker. You can look it up.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you an example. A granite countertop.
Bananas.
Bananas. So just think about it's common everywhere and it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just to understand.
Yeah, love it.
Hey, Samantha,
Yes, go ahead, John.
a bit off topic. Can you put your other hat on? Could you send me the I guess the either the objectives or the course material for that CERT Introduction to Wilderness SAR? I'm
Yeah.
not interested in that class for our group over here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You just want the objectives for it?
Yeah, just to see what the
Come,
scope
you'll see me.
is. And that may be something we're interested in chatting.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. We did a class in Chatham a couple of years ago. At a
Okay.
park right off of 64, kind of
Okay.
between Pittsburgh and Siler City. But yes, I will send that to you.
Thank you.
On this the public education stuff, if you would be interested in, sorry, I'm trying to write myself a note to send that to John before I forget. If you would be interested in being one of these public speakers, please email us. I'll put the email in the chat. And let us know. And then as we're building this, we're going to build out that PowerPoint a little bit more, and we'll get with the county emergency managers in the respective counties. And the idea is I want to use people local so that, we're not traveling 4 hours to cross the state, but, you would speak at the county in which you live or just the next county over. So if you are interested in that, email us and let us know. And maybe we'll give you a trial run and see how it goes. Anything else? Questions, comments? Matt, thank you so much for mentioning that about bringing the REVC stuff Saturday, because that's, brilliant.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that's why I have
figured it
you
would
with
save some trouble trying to mail it out, down the
Yeah.
road.
for sure.
Samantha, Cliff Green, new guy here.
Hey, Cliff.
So, where are you going to be Saturday? I had a different question, but since we're on that,
Apex Station
So
6.
we're in Apex Public Safety Station number 6. We're doing a class that we call it SAR for CERT, but it's an introduction to wilderness first aid. If the intended audience is CERT volunteers who have little to no background with search and rescue, just to give them a really basic overview of what search and rescue is all about.
That's cool. I'm a wilderness first responder, but that's a side story. Okay, so why I broke in here, new guy here, I guess that'd be my nickname for tonight. So I have actually participated in the big FEMA graded and the rehearsals for the refugees as well as the responders, decontamination and things like that. in the region here around McGuire and Catawba.
Yep.
But I was through other channels that were not REVC, and those have kind of dissolved with retirements of other people and leadership and things.
Sure.
So within REVC, as the new guy, I'm not aware and don't know how the communications channels are for both the exercises, like in
Yep.
Lincoln or Mecklenburg County, or a real world event, or our PACE plan comms methods amongst ourselves as the new guy.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
how knowing that as some kind of interlude in a presentation or something, how we might be called up for both a training event or a real world and our
Yeah.
internal PACE plan. That'd be cool. Okay, that's
Yeah, that's great. And I can certainly put something together. Just a quick answer for exercises and drills is we email. You know, that's our main source of
We'll know a month out.
communication. Yeah, because those are scheduled way in advance. For a real world event, we would probably start with email, and we probably need a better PACE plan because we all know that, you know, your first choice of comms may not be the one that is actually going to work at the time. So yeah, we could text. We do use Slack some, and several of us are also ham radio operators. So I should probably collect that information from you all, and have everybody's call signs.
But one key thing, just like in CERT or SAR, we do not respond until called upon.
Right.
There'd be something in terms, emergency management would contact us, some form of official notification.
Yeah. Like if something was going on at Harris, I'm knocking on wood as I say this, it's not going to happen. John Royal there with Chatham County, he could put in a resource request in WebEOC and say, you know, we need REVC volunteers to assist with a reception center. We're setting it up at this time and this location, and we need this many people. And so that is actually, you know, an asset that's requested. At the counties request it from the state, and then those requests come to me, and then I wave my magic wand over them and make people appear where they're supposed to be.
Hey,
so
Samantha.
Samantha, Cliff
Sorry.
again.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify, as the emeritus OXC for Mecklenburg and Comte and Laredo and a million other things. So I understand the part, and I didn't want to mislead. I understand the part that we don't self-deploy.
Oh yeah.
What the other person's comment was kind of alluding to that. I understand that of all people, I understand that part. But given that we don't self-deploy amongst ourselves, you know, I was looking for that PACE plan and the emails and the texting and how we know amongst ourselves that we have had the magic wand waved
Yes.
to do something. And
Yeah.
I never have learned that within this group.
Gotcha. So we start with email, and I'll leave it at that for now, but we can certainly talk more in depth about that.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Somebody else, John, were you saying something, or somebody else was?
Yeah, I was trying to understand from my, I know with the search and rescue crowd, with the REVC crowd, I drop my request in via WebEOC or NC Sparta, what have you. Are you going through NC terms to kind of check the availability of REVC, just like we get our search and rescue notifications, or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So we
what
do
happened.
have a
Okay.
team. Within terms, there's a teams response team module, and
Nice.
everybody has been added to that. I probably need to update it because we have a few new people. So I can send one email and just blast it to everybody, just like the search and rescue.
Does that
Right.
roll through does that roll through phone calls and text messages also, like the
It
search and rescue?
does, yes.
That's
Thank
cool.
you.
Very cool.
Yep, it doesn't do ham radios, but if you have your cell phone in there and your email, it will send you a text message, it will call you, and it will email you.
Does the same thing apply for CERT across the state or not?
We're getting there.
Okay.
Yes, we are getting there. One of the issues is that we have like 84 teams, CERT teams across the state, and so each team has a response team in terms, but then there's also one for people who could be deployed statewide because there's a little more training required, like the ICS classes and stuff. And that's just another thing that I need to take a full day and sit down and just work on nothing but that to organize.
I mean, you only have like what, 4 volunteer groups, man. You should be fine.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. I'll just make Sean do it and I'll go eat bonbons.
Thank you.
That's my plan.
I'm here to support you, Samantha.
Thank you, Sean. Let's see. Ed says there's also a DMR tech talk group on NC Cert, and there's an NC Cert Slack channel as well. So anyone, and we can certainly create a REVC Slack channel too. So I don't know how many of you all are familiar with Slack. It's just a really handy messaging platform that I like a lot. I use it in several different areas of my life, and it does require internet connectivity though. So sometimes you have that and sometimes you don't.
Does CERT have a Slack platform also?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Great questions. Anybody have anything else?
Sorry,
Hey, Samantha, it's Urmila.
Yeah, Urmila, what's up?
I was just curious to know, how are they going to handle a nuclear shelter? I'm sure it's going to be different from a flood shelter, because you'll have a mass of people trying to get to the shelter when you should have everything closed up. Are they prepared for that?
Oh, yes. So those are the reception centers that we've been talking about. They are a shelter. They're just called reception centers. So if something happened to a nuclear power plant near you, you would be instructed exactly where to go. And yes, there would be a lot of people trying to get there all at once, but that is partly where we come in to help with organizing that chaos and helping people to get in and get screened and get into the shelter. So yeah. Yep. That's what they would do. And remember that it's really going to be depending on where the plume is going, if there's any kind of radiation release, it's not going to be like all of Wake County. Everybody in Wake County has to go to a reception center. It will be pretty localized. So it's not going to be tens of thousands of people. It may be thousands of people, but not tens of thousands. So yeah. John, did you have something else?
If you get a chance, can you check to see if Chatham County's CERT leadership is on that Slack team?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like the name.
I know I don't like the name Slack, but I like the program.
And it's free.
Yeah, we're using the free version. There is a paid version, but the free one does everything that we need. Slack for Chatham County. See, I have to write these notes, so in my magic notebook, then they get done. All right, guys, any other questions, comments, anything that's on your mind tonight? All right, then I will post the recording of this on YouTube. It may not be tomorrow. I have a couple of meetings tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest. And I can send out a PDF version of the slides so you can see those calendar dates and everything, and you'll be able to add those to your calendar and make sure you're available for those important dates. All right, well, with that, I'm going to get ready to sign off, and y'all know how to reach me if you have any questions. And thank you so much for volunteering to be part of this group. And we really do appreciate you. And as John mentioned, and I'm so glad that he did, how impressive you all are out there in the field, and that people are noticing and appreciate the hard work that you all put in. So thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great meeting. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.